most California households, monthly housing costs make up the largest single component of their monthly budgets. And for this reason, households make careful decisions about where they live and how much they spend. It dictates what schools are nearby, how far we commute to work, what kind of recreational or shopping activities are near our home, and it also gives us a sense of our community and where we live. Amid really high housing costs like we see in California, households struggle to make certain trade-offs in order to be able to afford to live in the state. And they ask themselves questions: what can we afford to rent or to buy? Where can we afford to do so? And what amenities are we going to be able to afford in doing that? And each household comes to sort of unique answers to these questions. In our report, we focus on 4 serious and widespread trade-offs that California households make when faced with high housing costs. First, Californians spend a larger share of their income every month on housing. Typical California household spends about 5% more of their income than a typical household in the rest of the country. Secondly, Californians are much less likely to own their home than those in other states. The California home ownership rate is about 54%. It's 10% lower than the national average. Only New York and Nevada have lower home ownership rates than California. Third, especially in California's coastal communities, commuters tend to spend about 10% longer every day on the road getting to and from work. And fourth, Californians are 4 times more likely to reside in crowded housing than households in the rest of the country. Nationwide, about 1% of households are crowded, but in California, it's closer to 5%. California's high housing costs don't just affect individual households. They also affect the state's economy in some worrisome ways. First and foremost, high housing costs discourage people from moving to the state. When someone's considering where to relocate for work or where to move for school, they may consider California's housing costs, which are higher than they are in most other parts of the country, and think otherwise. Relatedly, businesses sometimes have challenges recruiting and retaining qualified employees for the same reason. They have to pay their employees such a housing premium in order to compensate for California's high housing costs. A recent survey of Silicon Valley business executives found that 72% of them ranked California's high housing costs as the #1 business challenge they face. And likewise, Stanford University recently purchased a large multifamily housing development in order to offer affordable rental options for some of its staff and faculty. California's major cities are the state's economic engine. And in most of these areas, housing costs are very high. Because housing costs are high, some individuals who would otherwise move there likely don't, and they stay in other parts of the state or other parts of the country. And this might have worrisome effects for the state's economy because these cities where individuals are working together densely tend to be more economically productive than other areas. And as a result, because fewer people live there due to high housing costs, we think the state's economy probably grows somewhat slower than it otherwise would.